Levi Ben-Shmuel.
I'm not a Capricorn. Here's the, I don't know about the first Aquarian, but I am an Aquarius. Last week when Alan and I had a conversation on the radio about some of the questions I wanted to speak about, I chose who am I and what is the truth about love, or for that matter, anything else. And I used, to start off, I used a Kabbalistic framework. That's the Jewish mystical path. And I talked about the tree of life just very briefly, which is basically a map of creation. And there are emanations of God's energy in this map, 10 of them. And I chose one of them, the one called Chokhmah, which has to do with seeing. And the answers to the questions for me has a lot to do with how we see things, how we perceive things. Are we more focused on the small self, and how does the question relate directly to me? Or can we expand our vision to a more godly vision, a more divine vision? And then when you do that, the answers to the questions look a lot different. So for today, for the two questions, who am I, and what is the truth about love, or anything else, I want to use another piece of the Kabbalistic playbook, which is the model of the four worlds, to help get a grasp on how to answer these questions. And in Kabbalah, there's this model of 4 levels of reality, or 4 states of consciousness, which I find very useful when trying to frame these kinds of questions, because it's very easy to get caught at one level and try to answer these questions at one level. For example, the 4 worlds are, first, Asiyah, which is the world of form or action, which we're very much in right now. There's the world of Yetzirah, which has to do with relationship. There's the world of Birah, which has to do with creation. And then finally the world of Atzilut, which is kind of beyond any talking about things. So depending on what level you're approaching something, you'll come up with a very different answer. For example, to the question, who am I? In the world of Asiyah, the world of duality, I'm a teacher, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer. It's very real that we take on these roles. At another level, for example, the world of Yetzirah, which has to do with relationship, it is very real that I am a son. I'm also a father. These things have great meaning. But then as we bump up to a different level, the next level of Birah, that's the level of creation, of consciousness. And on that level, I'm beyond any narrow definition of who I am. I am that creative force. I am the co-creator with God, manifesting the infinite potential that is available to any of us. And at the highest level, the level of Atzilut, there's no differentiation between anything. The question of who am I, there's no answer. There are no questions. That's the absolute unity of everything, where everything kind of merges into the oneness. The thing that's beautiful about this Kabbalistic model is it's not about transcending a level so you never have to deal with that level again. The beauty of it is all these levels exist simultaneously. And depending on your level of consciousness, your ability to see who you are in any situation, you can kind of shape-shift and pop up to a different level, and then your answer to the question will change depending on how expansive your seeing is. Another beautiful thing about the Four Worlds model is God is in each and every level. God is right here in the duality. God is obviously the creative force behind everything, or use a different term if you like, the creative force. And the idea, again, is not to transcend this mundane level, to get beyond to some state where you don't have to deal with your role as a teacher or your relationships, but to bring God into everything and bring that spirit down and make this world what I think in our hearts of hearts we know what it can be if we're willing to open up and bring that energy down to this level.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Much appreciated.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Sandy. My question really does have to do with the nature of things. And also back to the storytelling and the fact that wet, dry. We need the opposites. My question is about the opposites, night and day. Is there a place where we transcend all that, internally and externally? I'm not sure it is the way of things. So I believe very much that if we tell it like it is, we keep it the way it is, and we're wanting to elevate the story to another level. But the darkness and light and the balance of nature, I'm wondering what it is about accepting both that allows us to move to a higher level.
Thanks. Anybody want to take that question? Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go.
From a Taoist point of view, I'm a Tai Chi teacher, among other things. Everybody's familiar with the yin-yang symbol, the circle with part light, part dark, and there's a dot of the opposite in each one of those parts. And that speaks to the potential of harmonizing what clearly is. Built into creation is the duality, the complementary balances of energy that make up the world that we live in. And yes, depending on, once again, how you see that and how you relate to that, it is possible to be in harmony with it. I'm not saying it might not be painful or difficult to do that, but again, depending on your perspective, if one doesn't take the approach that something has to be fought and defeated, then that opens up a world of possibilities to try to work with the opposite and find that place of harmony, which is a very dynamic, fluid thing. It's not some place that I'm going to get there and everything's going to be great. It just doesn't work like that. Because of the nature of life and the constant ebb and flow of what life is, if you can be at peace with that part of reality, then I believe there is the possibility to find that harmony that I think a lot of us have talked about in that more unity space, and then learn to live in the duality in a more harmonious